a certain way. She likes Ray from Star Wars, like that little boop 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 thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, but Dad doesn't have the
Very
skills to do
cute.
that kind of work. That's a
That's next
that's a mom.
level.
Yeah, that's a
So
mom
my
job.
sister hates when I do her hair, like no matter what.
Uh huh.
Like she just start running away, and it is now a game
Oh
where
yeah.
like she run away and I run after her. She does the same thing for the clothes. I'm
Hmm.
just running with the clothes
It's
and
so
Uh
hit or
huh.
miss sometimes in the morning with stuff because we always drop her off at school, and sometimes she's
Yep.
like the sweetest,
Oh,
loveliest
dude.
girl in the morning, and sometimes she just like doesn't want to go to school and she's super fussy. And today, like I hit the jackpot
oh my
today.
god, today
It
was
was
like
unreal. I go to say bye. Like normally I would walk her to school, but Cammy walked her to school, and I go to
so
say
cute.
bye, and she gives me a kiss. So she
Oh
gives me a kiss, and she
yeah.
blows me a kiss, and I
Oh
go,
my.
"Love you, Zoe," and she goes, "Love me, love you, love me."
Adorable.
I
Adorable.
love
They're
it.
the
I'm
best.
like, that's
Oh yeah.
right, girl. You gotta love you. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, for sure. It's like I never realized how much I can like love, but also equally like be so angry at this little thing that's just like a piece of me. Of like, holy crap, kid! Like all into the spectrum, just all in constantly.
Yeah,
It's just the love is just very aggressive.
I
It's
try
just too
to,
much of it.
I try to remember that I'm the adult, but sometimes I fail. But
Yes, yes, I concur. I concur.
you
So
ever
yeah, we
find
have a
yourself talking to them like they're like 30 years old? Like, okay, so like we're
yeah.
you
You
guys,
do that.
you
You're
guys
like, we're
know
gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And I'm like sitting, I'm like, somebody's gonna do what you
this
want.
happens. I was joking around. This
Yeah.
happens to me. So like like we believe in marijuana and marijuana products,
Yeah.
and usually if we do it, one of us is always sober if there's a child around. But typically, I'm the one who's like doing some edibles at night, and I find myself like talking to Zoe like she's 30. I'm like, you just gotta keep at it, kid. You just gotta keep hammering.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My wife tells me all the time too. Logic is just out the window when you're trying to like. I'm just like, it's easy. You just do this and then you get this, or like do this and we'll go here. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. I'm gonna do what I want.
Do you read the parenting books? Do you do the parent psychology work?
No,
Okay, so
no, but I
so
should.
Camille is the queen of that stuff. So tell them like where you go for the stuff. Like, yeah, I know you listen to a
I
bunch of
mean,
different
the
docs.
answer is where do I not go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds like
I mean, I
sounds
only
like.
do like people with real background though, and like out of
Mhm.
real research, because I feel like that type of information is kind of it's like pulling on parents' heartstrings. So a lot of people,
Mhm.
I think, like really try to use it just to make money and has nothing to do
Oh
with
right.
like real research and information. So
Mhm.
I'm a stinker to like research the people.
Stinkler.
Stickler.
Oh, that's
I
good.
don't know
It's
which
good. It
one to
works.
say.
It works.
So yeah, I follow everyone who has like a real research and things like that behind them, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty. I am attacking parenting like a worse psychopath than I was for trust.
Listen, we're like different versions depending on the environment that we're in. I think we become
Yeah.
different versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Uh-huh.
we become like kids, maybe more immature.
Mhm.
Sometimes we
Mhm.
become more parental and
Yeah.
just adult. Like Camille as a parent is like unbelievable. Like she's
Yeah.
the most mature, composed adult. Like sometimes I've seen all sides of her, right? And she's not that way. But with Zoe, she is like the best version of herself.
That's
And
awesome. That's awesome.
and like this, like when kids do stuff, like sometimes you react like you would react to anyone else doing stuff. Like Zoe will like she loves spaghetti. She'll
Mhm.
eat like a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, and
Mhm.
then she'll take it and fire it across the room, and it'll like stick on the wall and slowly be coming down the walls and stuff. And any like normal person would be like, "You do not throw the spaghetti. Don't throw spaghetti in the house." You know, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. Uh-huh.
And it's like when you throw the spaghetti, it tells me you don't want to eat anymore. Like, it's
That's
like
so good. That's so good.
unbelievable.
So you figured out a way to like stay calm. That's like my wife too. She's like, you just need to be consistent, because
Yeah,
anger, like even if you're like a slightly annoyed, the kids are picking up on that stuff too. So like the more you can
yes,
keep your composure, stay calm, and just being like consistent, which the mom is way better at being consistent. Because
yeah,
I'll be pretty good, but then like the second or third time, I'm like, listen, kid, can you just do this thing? And, like my frustration starts to come out, and so
yeah.
it's I
My
mean the
rule
fact.
is simple. There's one kid, and it shouldn't be me.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, that's
honestly,
actually pretty
Josh,
good.
as dudes, I don't know if you can relate this, but as dudes, I wake up and I'm just most concerned with like, how do I support my family? What do they need for their survival? Like
Yeah.
the idea of like, oh, you shouldn't say that, or that's very insensitive. I'm like, I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep these guys alive. You know?
Yeah.
But we're good. Me and Zoe are already super independent. So
That's so cool. That's so
when
cool. Yeah. I need to take a page out of your book, Camille, because I'm like, man, I want to be better at it. I want to learn to stay more calm and keep my composure. Because usually when I do, the it's far and few between, but when I do get a better reaction out of our
yeah,
5-year-old. And so it's like kind of what you're saying, like I'm the adult, dum. Like, why don't you
yeah.
just
Well, I
you
think it also helps to have like realistic expectation of our
mm-hmm,
kids. Like,
mm-hmm,
I mean, I know Zoe is just my first one, but I really try to like follow like the development, like to know like where her brain is at in her
mm-hmm,
development and all
mm-hmm,
that. So
mm-hmm.
it gives you like more perspective into what is happening, within her brain.
Yeah.
So like it's not nothing is about us. They're just, I mean, can you imagine like she's 2 right now and she like
Mm-hmm.
just realized she's her own person and she has
Yeah.
emotions.
Mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm.
struggle to deal with their own emotions. So just imagine the first time you're like, wait,
Right. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
just say no.
Josh, did you read, or did like your wife or someone encourage you to read that, like What to Expect When You're Expecting book? And
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole
I
history?
would. Yeah, I wouldn't say I read it. I'm not gonna lie to
Okay.
you, but I definitely read parts. Like my wife and I, we took time out. We
Okay,
were
so
like
for those of you guys out there that don't know what this is, like basically it follows the pregnancy week for week, telling
Mhm,
you like your baby's the size of a
mhm.
a strawberry this week, and it's doing this,
Yeah.
and this is
Yep.
developing, and this and that. Well, normally I think people stop looking at that stuff once the baby's born. And
Yeah.
Camille continues to follow it where she's like, oh, Zoe's going through a leap this week,
Hmm.
or she knows right now she's doing this or that. So like it continues
Yep.
even after the baby is out of you in
Hmm.
terms of
Hmm.
like mapping the development. But I think it helps you understand what's going on,
Yep. Hmm.
and maybe how to react to it or
I
handle it
have to
better.
say that when we had the what to expect thing with the fruit, it would freak me out about that fruit.
You see the fruit in the market and you
Yes,
scare the shit out of
I
you.
would like it would be it's like a blueberry, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to eat blueberry. Like, I think really, I just thought it was so
I
Yeah.
like
hate blueberries.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife, she's same thing. She knows all that stuff. She's like, oh, just go through this stage and this stage. Yeah, she's got it all. She's got it all dialed down. Yeah.
We love
They're
them.
yeah, I know. It's well, I didn't realize how much I was gonna love being a dad until I actually became a dad. Like I was, so we put it off for a while. So I think, let's see, I was 36, 35, 36 with our first kid. Cause I was like, I don't think, it's I never really feel like I was 100% ready, but I was just like, I don't
Yeah,
think I'm going to be like
yeah,
ready. So anyways, but now that they're here, I'm like, it's like my favorite thing to do is to spend time with them and just
yes,
be like dad mode and do stuff with them and watch
same.
them like same with the 2-year-old too. It's like I was, because our 5-year-old is like really difficult. She had to get like tubes in her ears. She had to have like
Yep,
her
Zoe is the
tonsils
same.
removed.
What tubes and adenoids.
Adenoids, yeah, she
Yep,
got,
adenoids. Hmm.
yeah, she was always sick. Yeah. And we
Yep,
live in
same.
Florida, so it gets super swampy.
And the kids are
So
always
the ear
snotting and
infection,
kissing
like,
on each other.
Great, perfect, yeah. And
yes,
so she was just super challenging, like big time, and like wouldn't sleep. Oh man, sleep was like brutal, especially for the first couple of years. And so I was like, I don't think I want to have another one because
another one.
I'm like borderline miserable every day with it. Especially like the first 6 months. I mean like the first week, I looked at my wife and I was like, why did we do this? This is like so challenging because it was just like, I mean, obviously I love the crap out of them, but that first week was like this is living, breathing problem that was just always up, like, oh, there's always something, like it was
Yeah,
never stopped. We were like sleep deprived, you know how that stuff goes. And
Yeah.
so,
The first 10 days of like, I mean,
Oh, you have no idea what you're in for.
like for us, we were at the NICU for a really long time, so
Mhm.
I don't know how
It was,
it is, but like what people don't realize is that we were at the NICU for 12 weeks, but we still brought home a newborn. So we didn't like, it's not like, oh, we're like, 12 weeks at the hospital, we come back home with the 3 months, and it's like, we kind of like pass over that patch. It was like 12 weeks, and then we go home with the newborn. And I remember first of all, I don't remember anything about the first 10 days that we brought her home, but I just remember that I don't know how I went through it.
Well, it was terrifying because we were used to months and months of Zoe being on life support, you know, like with a CPAP mask and just like, you know, people coming in and constantly like reviving her. And then all of a sudden one day they're like, all right,
she's good to
go. Like,
jeez.
Her pulse? Do we need the pulse oximeter? She has she stops breathing. Like, what are we supposed to do? And she's like, she'll usually just plan her. I'm like, okay. And then, you know, she's a high risk. It was 3 months in the hospital where we couldn't leave the hospital because of COVID. They would allow us to leave once a day for 1 hour, double mask, no contact. And then once we got out, you know, because she's a high risk baby with a potentially compromised autoimmune system, being premature she was, nobody could come over the house. So we're alone in this house. And
running two businesses,
and she will not stop crying unless we're holding her and unless she's sleeping, but she doesn't want to sleep. You know, we were up like 24 hours a day. I remember like I felt so bad for Camille because obviously like she wants her mom, she wants the milk from her mom. Like there's a connection there that I could never have with her in that environment. But I remember just getting up at like 3 a.m. and just sitting on the couch next to Camille, trying to like, you know, make her feel better and breastfeed her. And I'm just like sitting there like, this is really hard. You're doing a good job.
I have a picture of myself from back then that's Zoe's so cute on it. And I love the picture for Zoe. And I looked at that picture the other day, and for the first time, I like look at me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like gray, like my skin is gray, and I'm like I have like this circle so dark, and I was like, I know I wasn't wearing makeup or anything, but it looked like it just had mascara down.
It's being the sleep deprived, man, is what's really starting to get the man.
Like I finally now Zoe's a little over 2, and literally the past month is the first time in 2 years that I get
almost sleep through the night.
I get like around 5 consecutive like sleeping hours, which is insane.
She did not sleep through the night at all, and when I say at all, I mean like she's like up for an hour at 3 a.m. For the first 2 years at least.
Yep, same with ours.
Anytime we had a night that would go by where she slept through the night, we're like, holy shit, what happened? How did we do that again?
Exactly. Do you guys have a lot of like help from like not a lot, but you guys get help from like family and stuff? No, same. We're like the same. No. We're the same.
Listen, our families are wonderful. They're lovely, but they're not here with us. We've always been pretty far from them. You know, Cam's from Montreal. I'm from like the New York City area. So we were in Colorado and there was COVID. They weren't around. Now we're in Florida and they love to come down and visit, you know, so like we'll see them a few times a year. Cammy's parents are actually going to come down for like 2 weeks in October, but we're pretty much like solo just with our, you know, we have each other, we have friends down here, and just a bunch of willpower and a desire to do our best for her.
Man, and that makes it so much more challenging, because when I hear friends where they're like, oh yeah, we're dropping, you know, grandparents are taking them overnight and stuff, or then wife's parents are taking them overnight, I'm just like, I mean, I'm like happy for you, but I'm like also angry and envious. And I was just like, you sons of guns, because it's back to like it's the relentlessness. It's the consecutive nights of just being like so drained. And then you feel bad because you don't have like the energy, or like you can't, like, I feel like I can't give them what I want to give them because I'm just so exhausted, you know, and I feel bad.
You know how some people think like, oh, if they're in a tough relationship or whatever, they've hit a rut, they're like, let's have a baby. That's probably the worst idea ever, because the baby will really test not just the strength of your marriage, but like your commitment to a successful marriage.
And also, I feel like the baby, it like brings back like all your own like trauma.
You become
so much things that, like you're like, you see yourself doing, and then you see the baby doing, and you're like, oh, wait a second, like that is not where I want to go with you. Like, I want you to think, or you become like hypersensitive to hearing everything people say, what's going around, and it's like a whole other demon to deal with.
Life is hard. Life is always hard in general, and you got to get shit done. But I feel like it can very easily become the type of thing where you both become employees of the family, right? And so like the idea of like time for you guys, or doing the things that you like, it's really secondary to taking out the trash, making sure the baby's getting taken care of, keeping the business going, keeping the house clean, like all that stuff. So for our 10-year anniversary, which we were very excited to celebrate, the best gift we got was from our best friends down here, Scott and Natalia, who took Zoe for the night for the first time in I don't even know how long. Cami and I went to Disney together and had just a night to ourselves, and it was so fun to reconnect with each other. Just two people not trying to manage a baby and worried about stuff, but just like having fun, like when we first met, and and just like doing the kid stuff and remembering how much we love each other. And I think as a couple, that's like the best investment you can make in a marriage, is trying to find space and time to do that, because every time we do that, it like recharges our batteries for each other.
Nice.
Like beyond even just like even like sex can become very transactional. Where you're like, okay, I got 15 minutes, let's go. Like, exactly. I got call in 10 minutes. I we're learning and we're trying to do better on that front. But it's
so true.
No, I totally agree. It's especially lately, the last couple of years with our second, I think we have like a couple minutes in the morning to say like hi to another, and then a couple minutes like before bed. And so we do make time to like say like it stinks, but it's almost like my wife and I's relationship has to take a back seat like almost all the time because of with life pretty much.
It's the same way we're like, you can't stop taking care of yourself. Like, just because like it's hard and busy, you can't stop eating right, you can't stop training. And we understand that. Sometimes we forget that with regard to nurturing our relationship too. And
for sure.
You got to just map out time to be like, okay, kids are asleep, put on your costume, I'm turning all the lights off, let's play hide and seek, and like, just have fun.
No, for real too. It's like, man, I think in the last, almost kind of what you guys are saying, the last like 5. So again, we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. In the last 5 years, I think her and I have been away twice for like two overnights. And it's the same thing. It's like, we need to make this a bigger priority because not only do like you reconnect, you're like, oh yeah, there's all these reasons why I fell in love with you and I love this person. Like I haven't thought about it for like 2 years, basically.
I think for the wife, what gets really hard, I mean, for me, is that like, because I'm like always like Zoe's like number one. Like if something happened, I have to drop everything and I go get her. And it's like, especially when she's sick, I'm always like taking care of something like nonstop. And I love her to death. It's just that what gets hard is that at the end of the day, when he wants to get his like love battery fill, I have nothing to give.
For sure.
And like, because I've been like so busy nonstop that and I haven't had 1 second for myself, like it gets really hard like sometime for that, because I also want like 5 seconds.
I just want to break. I just want to chill for a bit.
But it's like he wants my attention once she's not there anymore, and I'm like, I just gave so much.
And everybody needs that. Like I need that, Cami needs that, for all the Barry Fanilos out there. You got to be able to turn on your heart light, and like it to me, honestly, like I sometimes really feel for Camille because like I'm an extrovert. I make lots of friends. I usually to their own detriment. Like I just drag them into a friendship. Like, we're doing stuff. Here we go.
Yeah.
And to me, like the having fun, the camaraderie of like having a best buddy or a training partner, it gives me that opportunity to just like feel like a loved person a lot. But Cami is just like grinding in the trenches all day. She's very kind of introverted with regard to that type of stuff. So like she doesn't always have those outlets. And
Yeah.
I have my own outlets. You just don't understand because you're an extrovert and I'm not.
Exactly.
Dave doesn't understand that I want to be alone sometimes.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? That's the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, no, I just want to go walk
It's
alone
so funny
at the beach because I need my battery to get recharged.
And I am just I'm terrified of being alone. Like it's just scary. It is literally my worst nightmare. I don't care if you are a terrible person. We're gonna do this. You know, I hate because I felt so alone as a little kid.
I like
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a. Do you find? I don't know if you already were, but do you find yourself more of an emotional person after having kids? I cry at everything now. I'm like just crying. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
At the same time, I feel like both.
Always
we're totally
emotional.
We're totally calloused, and we're also over emotional. Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I also think that the no sleep and the weird hormonal whatever,
for sure.
But I can watch.
We need to get you like an aromatase inhibitor to just bring the estrogen down a little. You know.
So one of the big things since having Zoe now. Well, also sadly, I had a very traumatic birth, but I can watch like any type of birth or new baby stuff. I still can't do it yet. Any horror movie?
Oh, same. Yeah, that's fine.
There's too much blood. I used to not care at all, and now I'm like, I just like too much death, too much like that. I cannot, and anything that involve a kid getting hurt, I can't do that at all.
Wife is the exact same way. We used to watch like all that stuff, and now she's like, you watch it first, tell me what's going on, and then if it's okay, I'll watch it with you, because she doesn't like she'll get
gross things. I can't at all. There's like, I feel like your like empathy, compassion jars is just like so in size now that like I feel everything too deeply.
Josh, are you a girl dad? Do you have a son, or is it?
Two girls. Two girls.
Oh, okay. All right. So listen. Do you find yourself like? See, I thought I wanted a boy. Honestly, I thought like, I want a little Dave or whatever, and it'll be so cool. I'll be able to relate to him. And then I remember the sonogram where they told us it's a girl, and it took me it honestly took me just like about 10-15 minutes to kind of like wrap my head around it. And then I got so excited because I'm like, it's gonna be like a little version of Camille, which is
for sure.
100%. And it's so fun. Like I love being a girl dad, but it's like, like this is a blank canvas. Like this is undefined. She can be whoever, whatever she wants her to be. We're gonna force her to do one thing. So I love like watching karate movies with her. Like we watch blood sport, we get out of control. Like these dance parties we'll turn on, like Motley Crue, Can't Stop My Heart, and just start running around the house like crazy.
So awesome.
The best.
It's great. Oh yeah. My I swear if my 5-year-old's not in theater of some shape or form, I will be like amazed, because she needs like, any kind of like Disney movie comes on, hold everybody. I'm going to reenact this whole scine for you guys. Don't move. Singing, performing. Oh, and she it's like 110% before. But yeah, I initially I was like, okay, if I had to pick, I was kind of leaning more towards like a boy, just because I don't know. I guess it's just
you're a guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's common, right?
Game of Thrones, you want to
exactly. I want to go play sports and stuff.
Bloodline.
Yeah, but like I feel like a lot of people, it's like all I really want is just healthy, just be okay, and all that stuff. Like that was the number one thing I did. Yeah,
that's me, and especially because we didn't start there. Like every time I hear anyone, I mean, it's not their fault because we just have like different experience. But every time someone is like, "Oh, I'm so tired of being pregnant or this and that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
at least you're getting there all the way.
That's
Like,
true. Yeah.
I would much rather be an extra 3 months pregnant than 3 months
Yeah.
at the hospital.
Yeah, no
Josh,
kidding.
when you had your daughters, this was like an epiphany I had when Zoe was like a little over 1. Is like, you know, you have this little angel, and then you see her kind of develop, and as a dad, you just want to like protect her heart, you know, just or like that. You hold that heart like an egg in your hand, you know, fragile. And I started thinking, I was like, man, I was kind of a dick to girls.
Of course.
Like, I was never like mean or abusive or anything, but I'm like, I hope that, like, seeing it from my dad perspective now, I realize how like you have to hold this little, you know, take care of this little fragile heart.
Oh man,
and, it's a different perspective, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's changed my perspective on all sorts of different things. Yeah, it's like she just started pre-K 2 weeks ago, and she already came back home and said this little boy was being mean to her, and I was like, trying to be like nice. I was like, okay, well, yeah. Then I turned around, look at the wife. I'm like, I'll knock that motherfucker out. It's like, I'm like, I will drop this 5-year-old right now. It's like,
exactly. Where does he?
You know,
Gonna go get this little Joey.
For sure.
Where's Joey?
That's hilarious. Yeah. So it's definitely a challenge because they're just like, it's like the number one thing I care most about is, you know, both these little kiddos. And so it's like, yeah, please just everybody look at them the same way I look at them and treat them. That'd be nice.
Like, you know,
it's not gonna happen, but
no, I know.
support them. We're doing your job.
We're so biased, but like,
yeah,
she is just like the sweetest little girl. Like she every day she gives the dogs a hug. She feeds them and pets them and gives them a hug around the neck.
Oh yeah, no shit. I'd probably cry if I saw something like that. Like, I get choked up.
Like, the sweetest thing.
She just had a birthday party last weekend, and there's this little girl named Sienna, and she goes to daycare with her, and they're like BFF. And Sienna got to the birthday party, and Zoe ran and hugged her, and I'm like, rag.
Yeah.
I can't.
She's just got this intuition to be like a very loving girl. Like, you know, granted, she does have her like destructive Dave moments. Yeah. But like, you know, like we'll go to the beach and she'll sit on my lap and she just wants to feed me food. She's like, thinks it's the funniest thing. She feeds me food. And I go hump, and she goes again, and just won't stop. She just loves feeding her mommy and her daddy and the dogs, and she's
that's
the best.
Adorable.
But hey, anyways, I don't want to bore people because
it's
like,
I know that's
like,
the parents.
Look at the baby, you know, like, okay, if you
listen, I don't care. I love this shenanigans.
I know. I could talk about her like for the end of time. She's the best thing
I'm totally down with it. Hey, kid, I'm down with talking about kids. I love that stuff. We just started. Well, I guess I'm gonna drag it out a little longer because we just started potty training our 2-year-old, and so to your point, she's like already amazing. And it's just like she comes when she actually goes like pee-pee on the potty. She comes running in. Dad, I just went pee-pee on the potty, and I go running. We're just like high fiving, and we're like, yeah, it's like a huge party all over the place. Like, so it's funny. The smallest little things are like, I'm gonna blow it out of proportion. Good times, man. Good times.
That's that's a normal response for me usually.
Just
I'll come racing out of the bathroom, and I'll be like, Cammy, look at this poop.
I think that unless your parents like having a good like day movement for everyone, it's like a huge deal.
Dude, it's
jackpot.
Like you don't know how awesome it is that everyone is like good on the digestion side until you have like a full family.
We got to have like a chart of gold stars for every like dollar bowel movement, especially you know, like we got pretty fucked up from COVID last year, Cammy and I both, and it lasted. We kind of got long COVID. She had brain fog, you know, mental fatigue, and just fatigue in general. And I ended up with like really bad stomach issues, like super tough bouts of IBS for months and months and months. And and now, like, you know, even now, it's like managing the effects is still something you need to be aware of. But like anytime that like both of us, because you know, I got IBS, Cami had a hard time going to the bathroom. It just affected our digestive system for some reason.
Right.
Anytime now we have like good poops, we're like, we celebrate. Like
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. Oh yeah, it's a huge. And then when the little kiddos go a couple days, it's like, have you seen her poop? Have you seen her poop? Have you seen her poop? Oh my gosh, it's been like 2 years. Yeah.
Don't you feel successful when your child does a good poop? You're like, I fed her,
dude.
Got the nutrients, and now like, way to go, good poop. You know,
for sure. Does Zoe eat pretty well? Like, is she pretty good with like her fruits and vegetables and stuff? I mean, I know you guys eat well, but is she cool with like, yeah, I'm okay with fruits and vegetables?
She's like a psychopath in some ways.
Well, she eats what we eat. Like, she couldn't care less about outside the chocolate chip and the sprinkle. Like, she does not care about like cake or
vegetables or fruit. What's interesting is how
she really eats like, I'll give her like I don't know, like chicken nuggets or whatever, and I'll eat the salad, and she always ends up on my lap eating the salad with me.
What's interesting is like, she'll eat good quality food. Sometimes she eats like, she wants macaroni and cheese. What's interesting is like how her taste changes on like a week-to-week basis. Where like one week, all the strawberries, and now strawberries are no good, and it's only grapes or something.
Yeah.
Peanut butter now. But always, like, we love to go to like, for like a cheat meal or something, the Cheesecake Factory, where we can, get 4,000 calories in a meal. And Zoe is, whatever time of year it is, however much she's eaten that day, doesn't really matter. She will sit down at the Cheesecake Factory for 2 hours, and she won't stop eating the entire time. She'll go through a bread basket. She'll eat a full bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, and she'll cap it off with a Justin's nut butter cheesecake. With whipped cream, and literally, like, we're concerned because she eats so much. I'm like, is she going to explode? Like, and then the next day there's some, and it's weird because like some days she'll go and she won't eat up much at all, and then all of a sudden she goes to the Cheesecake Factory and she's like, it's on, and she gets it.
That's awesome. It's so funny to see the two difference in our kiddos, because our 5-year-old's like, if it's not pizza or a hamburger or nuggets, I'm going to throw it right in your face, Pops. But then our 2-year-old, she's like, I want some broth, Dad. I want some like carrots. Yeah. And like, there's like and it's just like total opposite. They're very different. It's really interesting.
Zoe loves broccoli and tomato.
And she always wants whatever we're eating. Like, if we're eating it, she wants it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's more.
I'm very boring. I always eat like steak and eggs, chicken and rice.
Yeah,
and if I'm eating it, she'll try to eat it.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to tell you guys, one of my favorite pieces of CrossFit content is when Camille, you're trying to push the sled, and Dave, you're like coaching her through it. Dear God, I love that shit so much. So funny. And then Matt, I forgot Matt Chan's wife's name. Damn it, what's her name?
Sherry.
I always want to say Sherry, but she's just kind of like.
It's Sherry.
Sherry, yeah. But that was it. I really don't have a question. I just want to say it was freaking. I just love. It's like one of the best.
Well, do you want to give them? You want to give them the context of that? People see that and they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, like what people don't understand is the context of that, right?"
I'm
so,
sure.
Like,
it looked like. Oh, sorry. Good.
Because that was like something like a week before the CrossFit.
Well, sorry, like Matt and Sherry have always been like great friends. They're amazing people. And before her regionals that year, we were trying everything. Like, we went off to like see Olympic lifting coaches, and we took running coaches and powerlifting coaches. And we were trying to do everything we could that year to give Cami just like her best opportunity to achieve what she wanted. And right before the regional, I was like, hey, how would you feel if we went before your regionals, if we went up to like altitude and we did some altitude training? We could stay with Matt and Cherie for like 2 weeks. We'll train, we'll hike. Part of that also was we were living in San Diego, and it was like getting out of that competitor environment at CrossFit Invictus and away from a lot of the, the egos and just like the clickiness that can occur in a gym, and just isolating yourself to get your mind right and get your body right. So we went up there.
It's just a lot to be around a lot of other competitor when you're getting super close to compete, because everyone, if they are aware or not, everyone's like projecting their emotion around.
And it's like high school.
It just gets very heavy to be around when I just want to be chill and trust, my work.
There's a lot of people trying to prove their
Especially the
worth,
one that,
you know, like,
especially the one that did not do the
Yeah.
work, or the one that like really tried to like to kind of grab everyone's emotion because they were
Yeah.
so nervous because
And-
they were
Right,
about
right.
to get exposed.
The other thing
Yeah.
is like, you know, the way that you can get lost and saturated into one thing where it's like, it's not just the training, but it's like constantly being around the training, constantly talking about the training,
Mhm.
constantly looking at other people training. It's not healthy, right? For
Yeah.
a human, like you can't be that unbalanced and be
Yeah.
your best. So getting off into the, you know, Matt and Sheree lived way isolated in the woods.
Mhm.
Getting out there was like the best thing ever. We all had a great time. But, you know, Cammie came back before the regional. She came back after that period of prep. And then when she went to the regionals, she was like unfucking-believable. A world record in every single event. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that worked really
Yeah.
well. You know,
Yeah.
she was just so dialed in. She was so tuned in. And so when she started like, okay, we got a couple of weeks of the games, I was like, you want to go back? And she's like, yeah, let's go back. So we went back and we continued. And there's always a lot of buildup and media leading up. So they sent this guy, Ian Wittenberg, who's an amazing, great
Yep.
videographer. I don't know if he
I know
still
that,
works in CrossFit, but he's a great
I don't know.
dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, we'll come out and we'll video you guys in camp training. And they started announcing events of like, and they kind of half announce it like one event's going to have a sled
Of course.
push.
Of
No idea
course.
how
Yeah.
long, you have no idea how heavy, you have no idea what kind of sled push. You know it's going to be a sled push. So first thing you
And-
do, obviously, is go try a sled push, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
also keep in mind that like for me, those type of events were always like the one that would like hurt me most, like in the ranking, just
Oh yeah. Yeah.
due to my sheer size of
yeah, kind of like that
A
brute
little
strength
tiny
stuff
nugget.
where you don't need really any kind of specific skills. You're a
Yeah.
big, strong person, you can do
and
it.
I did so
Right.
much sled push that year, like I did a lot of all the stuff that I'm not good at. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I was like, all right, let's just, you know, see if I'm like made of steel, still tough. And I had like this, I think most people don't understand this because you know, it's a very unrelatable position that I was in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
People are trying to be the best in the world.
But I think
For sure,
I think
for
you
sure.
can relate to like,
But what happened is that this was like something like 2 weeks before the game, like the pressure, the pressure was so on, you know, it was like
Yeah.
expectations were high.
my expectation for myself was like, I worked so much on my mindset that year. And I knew if I walked in with like a strong mindset, I could do something great. Everything else out of my control, the workout out of my control, judging. So I don't know, but I just knew that I had something special. Like I like worked so hard that year specifically.
And coming off the regional, you were in a great spot, just mentally and emotionally.
And I was healthy too, which helps.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm like, let's go do the sled because I'm a fucking mental case and they want the sled, so I have to do it. And then Cherie go on the sled and she pushed it no problem. And then I get
shit.
on and I can't do it.
There's more
And
to it.
that's
We
the
didn't
part
have
of
the
what
right.
people didn't see.
We didn't have the right
I
setup.
didn't see
You know,
that.
we're putting the sled on a dirt road, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like
Just
gravel
like
and dirt. Your feet
rocks
can't even
and-
really grab the
yes.
ground very well. The sled is like getting stuck on twigs and rocks or whatever.
the
Was that on purpose? Was that on
But
purpose?
so like, you know,
No, it
we
was
go
just-
with we're gonna take.
Here.
We're like, what do you want to start with? Well, let's start with this like the empty sled,
And
and let's
I could
look
not
at the
do it.
technique. And like, you know, and I'm telling her like, oh, well, you want to, you know, get your hip down low so it's in line with your knee and your shoulder, and you know this and that, and it's just not going anywhere.
As
not
soon as
moving at all.
as soon as I couldn't do it, like the pressure of everything just blew inside me.
And so
And I was not seeing clear.
I'm like kicking
And
the
I
sled.
like
I'm
didn't
like,
even
is
hear
it?
there was a camera. Like there's a camera there, and I'm so gone in my head because the pressure, like it just needed to come out. Which
For
was
sure.
like,
I got
It
you.
was so concerning.
Perfect,
It was
but-
so concerning. I was like, is there something wrong with the sled? Is there like a stake in the bottom of the sled that's just not allowing her to push it? Like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, I go and test it. I go, oh, it's moving. And Cherie goes and tests it. He's like, no problem. And then Cammie goes and it won't move at all.
Oh God. Oh God.
in the video is that at the end I am pushing the sled.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People don't see that I changed my shoe and then it was fine.
Oh.
Yeah, I was.
Because the shoe I was wearing were like,
Oh.
the bottom was like this foamy thing. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
just
Okay.
gripping on
have
anything.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
like,
No grip.
changed my shoe and the bottom was like more gummy, like
That's
what they were wearing. And then I
Yeah.
was like, no problem.
Holy
So anyway,
crap.
he's getting more and more frustrated. Sheree and Matt and I, all three of us now, are trying like, try grabbing it here, or try doing this, or do a little push and then a big push, or chop your feet or whatever. And nothing is working.
Shit.
And so Cammy at this point is getting so angry that she's starting to curse and lose her mental composure. And now I'm not concerned about the sled not moving. I'm concerned about the mental skills we tried to spend in the building. Right? It's like, it's not about what's happening. It's about, don't lose your process. You have a process. Stay to your, keep your mindset intact where you don't start losing your composure.
Went out the window.
And she's swearing, and now she's not even hearing us.
Oh,
and so
I wasn't there.
if you listen closely though, right?
Oh yeah,
there's one line.
Listening to this again, that one line is just, you can't even make it up because it's so beautiful and like.
Okay, so
it's just so spot on.
So we're saying, try this, try that, try anything, and then at one point, I'm like, try this, and she just like completely dismisses me, and she's like, that's not gonna fucking work. And I go, well, did you try wishing it forward?
No,
well,
I caught that.
Of course I did. And I go, well, did you wish upon a star? Did you wish upon a star? She goes, of course I did.
So my answer was, would you think I'm stupid?
Oh yeah, you think I'm fucking stupid? Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah. I'm stupid. Did you wish upon a star? Of course I did.
Amazing. It's just so much. Everything about the video is like just so genuine, just like the evolution of it unfolding. That's why it's such a like amazing piece of content.
I think when you're on the cusp of something.
On the positive side, what you see in that video is literally the worst me. Which is not that bad.
Not bad at all.
Like
not bad at all. I wish
every husband and wife.
I was scared when they told me they were like, we're gonna just, we're gonna put this sled, and I'm like, I have no idea what I look like. I know I was gone.
Every husband and wife you've ever trained before together, like you ever trained with your wife, if you've ever gone camping and it's raining and you're trying to pitch a tent, if you're ever in an RV and you're trying to flush the shitter out and shit's getting everywhere, you've all been in this situation together where you're just fucking pissed and you're pissing each other and you've got to find a way to make it work. And it's like the most relatable dynamic for a married couple. We were married at that point. Yeah. So,
that was like, we got married
in 2012, 2 years before we got married. But like, I think that anybody like who's on the cusp of doing what Camille was doing, where she has invested all of herself, like every fiber of her being, everything she has physically and mentally and emotionally, and all of our available resources, including our money and our time, we've just poured everything in there. Having a mental breakdown like that right before is not only very normal, but I think she needed to get it out of her system.
Yeah.
And now you just happen to be caught on film.
I know. I mean, for us, the viewers, it was gold, It was gold for us, yeah.
That's so long ago.
For people, I think they only see the athlete, but they don't understand that, on the athlete side, I am not just sacrificing like me, right? It's not just like me that's doing it, but he's doing this with me. And like I have like all those people that are kind of allowing me and supporting me. So you don't just let yourself down. You feel like you're letting like a whole freaking team down, and it hurts so much more than what people can ever imagine. And sometimes like you find yourself failing is a big word, because I wouldn't consider it. It feels like you might be failing, but you're just learning a lesson. Yeah. But like when that stuff happens, it's like not just you,
in the moment.
It's just you feel like there's something so much bigger that like just came down with you. Like the highs are high, but the lows are low, and you really need to have like extreme resiliency to keep showing up like year after year, like not just after the good or the bad year, after any year, because expectation are there, good or bad, and like, oh, you did that last year, so let's see if you're done. Oh, you did good last year, so let's see if it was like, it's just like,
especially in the middle of it too, it feels like it's part of your identity too, so you feel like this is kind
of listen, Josh,
I was lucky enough to have so many other things in my life that for me it was always important that everything in my life support like kind of that growth mindset and be more like, you're never one thing. And when I was competing, I was studying in chemical engineering, and I had Dave, my husband, so I've had a family, and I had like another kind of career going on at the same time. And towards my last couple of years, like now we're building a business and we're doing other things, because I just don't believe that your whole identity should be tied to competing, because it's, first of all, it's very shallow, and second of all, what happened when you get hurt? Like who are you? And even like when I retired from competing, I thought it was really hard to, I'm still like trying to find like that next chapter of my life. I think I'm kind of in it. I'm obviously in it now. Like there's no choice. But like sometimes that like life of competing comes back and I miss it a little bit. But if you only had that and there's the next chapter isn't appealing to you, like that transition must be like really, really hard.
Yeah, Camille and I are very similar in that like we tend to pursue like big ambitious things. It would be so much easier to just have like a 9-to-5 job and be able to clock in and clock out, but is not the life we want for ourselves. We pursue things that frankly we feel are our calling. And so it's more than a job, but it's our passion and our talents and what we feel we can actually contribute and bring to the world and leave a mark on. So even now, whether it be like CrossFit or like, before that I had a baseball career and now our businesses, it's the kind of thing where it is a part of our identity and we care about it so deeply, which is like a double-edged sword because it makes the rewards so rewarding and you feel so filled up, but at the same time, it also has the ability to completely eat you alive if you don't know how to manage it correctly. And it's a lot, but that's what we want. We don't want, to me, living a life where you're not so excited to be doing what you're doing and feel like it's not even just like excited, but feel like you are in a mission and a pursuit of something bigger than yourself that you believe in is the reward, like that challenge, that daily grind of us, right now building our businesses, writing books and programs and our athletes and trying to evolve the training and spread the mantra and all that stuff. To us, it's not like about even collecting a paycheck and, being able to pay the bills, but it's about leaving our mark on the world and feeling like we actually reached for something that is worthwhile. It's not easy. CrossFit isn't easy. Going on any of these endeavors are not easy, but the fact that it's not easy is really what it gives it the value.
Yeah, it's not just the end result. It's the process that is the love and there's the fun.
It's really nice to wake up with purpose in the morning.
Yeah. And it becomes an obsession. It really becomes an obsession where it's hard to not think about it. It's really hard to not care about it. It's the kind of thing where it is like in the fiber of your DNA, not just something you do, but really kind of who you are. And whether it be her going to the CrossFit Games or taking those skills and expressing it through a different vessel doesn't matter. That's just who she is as a person.
Yeah.
I do wish I could go half-ass sometimes, but I can't.
Yeah, it'd be so nice. I was telling Cam,
I can't wrap my head around it. Sometimes, how sometimes I feel like it's the same way, like when you train, you're like, you have 5 sets and you're like, maybe I'll just do 4. And I'll do that right in my head. I will always do the 5 set. Yeah. And I might do a 6th one just because how dare I? Like,
oh shit, I love that.
I just cannot not go all in. You can ask Dave, if we go on a walk, I'll have a landmark in my head and we have to go to the landmark because we finish things and we do things right. And it's like down to like the smallest thing. Yeah. Which seems crazy, I'm sure, from outside, but I feel like building, it's like building tiny win is so important because now that's all you know how to do things is you do them well and you do them all the way through.
And it makes you extremely unrelatable to your friends and family who frankly are just like they just want to be comfortable. You know, like they do not understand. And we hear it all the time, like, why are you doing that to yourself? Like, why are you eating like that? Why are you training like that? Why are you working so much? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to stay up till midnight? Just like, you know, just constantly grinding and inching and clawing. People don't get that because I think it is like, it's a personality trait. It's maybe it's an emotional flaw, but it's childhood trauma. You're like trying.
Well, I heard you guys talking about the small little wins on your podcast. You're talking about the lists, and even if it's like drinking a cup of coffee, but you're setting the momentum. You're just setting the pace. Like, yep, that's a win.
I've done lists forever.
I mean, this is today, dude. This is today's list. All right.
It's a little intense.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that right there. That's awesome. I love that. But yeah, it's good. Like you're saying, it's just a mindset thing, and it just the little wins. If you just start checking them off, you start feeling good, and then like that momentum carries over to the big stuff.
Yeah, I've done lists since as far as I can remember, and I've always had like on and off like some level of depression in my life, and I never realized how much that was always kind of what helped me get out of it. And I mean, when Zoe I would have depression pretty much after every CrossFit game, which is super normal because it's such a big high. And then you go home and you're like, well, what now? Like I have to relax for a month, but there's like, just, you know.
Did you feel, sorry, Cam, did you feel depressed after you won it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, interesting.
It was an interesting.
It's weird because you did it and you're like, and then what was really hard after winning it is that I like just wanted to chill with Dave, but no one would let me.
Yeah, including me. I was bad about that.
Everyone was like pulling me left and right, and I really think it did burn me out.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it was really like the next year, like the training got really hard because I got so burned out in the first 2-3 months because everyone except me wanted to capitalize on it, and no one wanted to listen to me because I was young, and they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I should be fucking resting now. Like this is a lot. I don't think I should be traveling around the world because the goal is to do this again, right?
Right. Yeah.
One of the things Camille has gotten really, really good at since winning the games is being very present. And she's helped me with that a lot too, because you can easily get stuck. Like you can easily get stuck in a good or a bad moment. You know, like you can get stuck in a bad moment where you're just like, no matter what you do, you're still that victim of whatever, or a good moment, you're like, I'm the CrossFit Games champion, and you can never fucking move on from it. And like anyone, you know, I had dealt with this when I left baseball. It was really hard to let go of that identity. I think from my perspective, like seeing Camille win the games, there was a period of time where for her to grow, she had to let go of thinking of herself as Camille, I'm the CrossFit Games champion.
Which I did pretty much the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, with
little defensive, but
no, you're right. It took a little bit, but
and I've learned a lot of that from her, because like that year, you know, there's so much expectation and it can get in the way. And you're always changing. Like a moment comes and it goes, and now it's gone, and you can't hold on to whatever title, whatever happened, good or bad. Like that's over.
Yeah.
And now it's just about you. Like maybe you do the CrossFit Games next year and you finish last. Maybe that happens, and you did your best. You did everything right, and that's just the way it happened. You have to be able to let go of that. But it can be really hard when everyone is just telling you how great you are and what you should be doing and how much money you should be making and yada, yada, yada. Like it's really hard. And that for both of us, you know, learning that is a real skill.
I hated it. Like something that I think that if you know me, I'm very authentic, and like having people like coming to me, and their first thing would be like give you a compliment or try to like ground you right away, I would look at David and be like, I'm done. Like, I don't know what you want, but no, thank you. Like, because I just want like a real authentic relationship that challenged me and helped me grow, because that's the goal of life. And I feel like that perspective has helped me so much, not like tie so much of my identity to things, because our goal is not to compete in this section right here, but it's to compete in life. And like life never stops. So it doesn't matter, you know, like right now I'm a mom and I'm building my business, and a lot of what I do now really like go on with like zero recognition. Like there's no trophy, there's no medal for being a good parent, right? There's outside like having a good relationship with your kids, which to me is more than anything else in the world. But even with our online business, like we're helping thousands and thousands of people, and very rarely do we like kind of like get it back like from people like coming to us and being, oh my God, you help us so much. That happens like a couple of times a year. Even though I think our imprint is like much like bigger than that, but there's no medal for life. So I think like once you realize that you really have to do it for you and hopefully be in the team good guy helping, like you just keep trying to be you know, I want to keep competing, but I'm competing now in like life,
and it's a harder competition, and there's more at stake, and there's actually a lot more, you know, to us honestly it feels like, coming from baseball or coming from CrossFit, it feels like a much more fulfilling endeavor based on what we're bringing people, you know, because it's not about us, it's not about our performance, but it's about our ability to impact other people. But on that note of lists, which by the way, like I classically terrible with, like I'm a left brain, like when I clean a house I just keep wandering around the house picking up this or that, like I'm writing six books at a time and a little bit of each chapter, and Cami is very organized, but it is great for staying present, you know, because like I think a lot of times we engage in this kind of circular thinking and going over the same thought again and again. Oh, it's going to be so hard to do this and it's going to really suck, and then what happened before and what might happen later, and you just need to like, well, what do I need to do right now? It's really, really helpful for staying present and keeping you on track and being able to actually let go of some of the things that can get in the way. Like, you know, for instance, somebody gets injured and they'll talk a lot about what they used to do and all the things they can't do anymore, but very rarely are they focused on what can I do right now, you know? And so it's a really valuable tool.
For sure. And
every now.
I know you guys talk about too, just getting it out of your head and putting it on paper. It just that part feels good. For sure.
I find that if I do it the night before, it really helps me sleep, because otherwise I'll sit and I'll be thinking about all this stuff and I'm not going to remember half of it. That's true. So, and I thought it was just like, you know, Cami's always been into like personal growth and mindset and you know, all this stuff, which I was like, oh, okay, hippy dippy stuff. Like I'm good. But I'm not. You're not good. You're not good. You need to practice this the same way you practice everything else.
I gotcha. By the way, are you guys okay on time wise? I want to be, because there's a couple things I definitely want to get to, but we're about. It's almost.
Let me check our schedule.
I have like so many texts right now. But
hold on. Wait a second.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, take your time.
Like
I would say, like if we did like 15 more minutes.
Yeah. That should be okay.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah.
Hit us up.
Okay, good, because I got like 3 more hours if you want to go like Joe Rogan style.
No, I don't think people want to endure through that.
Just kidding. Good stuff. One thing I wanted to kind of ask you directly, Cam. Sorry, I call you Cam. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. No, my bad. I know. Sorry.
I know. No, that's
They usually just
okay, sir. Okay,
I know. Sorry. Normally people just ruin my name and don't apologize for it.
Good. Something I've never really considered before, especially now that I have 2 daughters myself, but was like women's hormones and like how specifically like during like the menstruation cycle for women and like competitiveness and like how that could play a huge role on how they perform. And so it was kind of like a 2-part question, whereas how much in your like experience does it really affect like your endurance, like your strength, things like that? And then also, have you thought about like what organizations or like sports could do to maybe help like accommodate women during that time? Like, is there I think there's like a solution to that?
Yeah, it's huge. To be honest, like I wish there was so much more, and I wish I did so much more of that back then. And I became very obsessed with it towards the end of my career because towards the end of my career, we started to talk about getting pregnant. So I was like, you know what? Let me look at my fertility hormones and all of that. So I did some blood work, and it came back so bad.
Well,
Oh, dang.
you put more context on that. When Cami had her blood work done, they sent it back.
Yeah, they did. Because
And they
were
sent
like,
it back
"There's
because
no
they
way."
said this must be an error. This is blood work
Oh,
from
shit.
a postmenopausal woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
And now what,
Because my hormones were so suppressed from the 10 years of training.
Intense
if
training.
there are women and men out there, and this is a legitimate message, like if you're out there and you're really pushing the CrossFit competitive training really, really hard, regardless of your performance, it seems like it leads to a lot of systemic hormonal suppression because the stress levels in the body are more than you really fathom. And so whether your Fran time or deadlift is going up or getting faster aside, you should be checking yourself. And, you know, a lot of the women and men that Cami and I deal with are dealing with these post-competitive career issues where all of a sudden it's not just like testosterone is suppressed or estradiol is suppressed, but everything is really, really low.
Yeah.
Okay, let me keep going in the cycle because everyone does learn about menstruation. So yeah, I became like hyper aware of all of it. And if you're someone who's like competing at any level, like if you're losing your period, you're in like great danger, like not necessarily like danger, like physical danger, but you're like really performing at a fraction of what you could, because if your hormones aren't right, you're not able to assimilate your estrogen properly to build muscle. So you'll never be as strong as you can be. Also, during your menstrual cycle, like right before your period, your testosterone is a little bit higher. And if you're someone who is prone to have some, how do you call it? Like
mood swings?
No, like pull your hamstring or pull your bicep.
Injury?
Injury prone?
No, but it's not.
Is it like,
it's a specific injury.
Yeah,
like,
it has to
like
do
your-
with tendinal elasticity.
Yes, so your
Yeah.
tendons like are less elastic right
okay.
before your period and at the beginning. So if you're someone who's more tight, like doing all the weightlifting bouncy, or like if you're not as flexible and you're competing like right before your period, like everything that has like a lot of flexibility involved and things like that is going to be affected, because your body tends to be more tight just because of the hormones. At the opposite, if you're like me, you're hyper lax, when you're around ovulation and a little after ovulation, your estrogen goes up, which increase that mobility. So that's when you're gonna start having like shoulder dislocation, elbow dislocation, knee dislocation. So if you're an athlete that has more of a cyclical type of competing, so where like you compete, you have like those big event a couple of times a year, I would say like track your cycle and make sure you are in that optimal window to compete, depending on like where you fall and kind of the two thing I just said.
What time of the month would it be most ideal to train hardest for a girl?
Well, again, that depends. So if you're looking more to like build muscle mass right before your period, would be a really great time to do that. Like more hypertrophy type of training.
Lifting kind of stuff?
Yes, heavier lifting kind of stuff right before your period. Then kind of like that week between your period and ovulation, like you'll be able to suffer a ton. So like crank up the suffering there. And between ovulation and back to like your next period, that's more like kind of that steady space there. Yeah, if that makes sense. I feel
No,
like
it
that's
does. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
For
but
someone
being
who's
able to know in your head like where you're at, and just knowing where you're at in your head and why you might feel a certain way,
Yeah.
why maybe like that day like your snatch feels so spot on and you're like, I don't know what's happening, but you're like, oh, I'm here in my month, I have a little bit more estrogen, my flexibility is better, I'm able to be a little bit more bouncy because of it. Like knowing what helps you most in your training depending on like your genetic and body type is
Mhm.
really like a powerful tool to have, to know that those are the days that you would like to be at when you compete, and then you can try to manipulate maybe your period a little so you can have those days to compete and be at the right place.
so for like an average Joe or Josephina, um,
Yeah.
who's like in the gym, you know, maybe the expectation wouldn't necessarily be like, I'm going to change the training around my cycle for someone who's just there to kind of like look good, but maybe it's more of an explanation as to why you might
Yeah,
feel a
have
certain
some
way.
awareness.
And then with regard to what we do specifically with like body transformation, it's important to be able to explain that to women how, you know, despite the fact that they're maybe trying to cut body fat and they're trying to improve their composition, there are periods of the month where they're just going to be retaining more water and be heavier. Doesn't mean the system isn't working. It just means that your body goes through these very natural cycles and physically expresses those. And that again is no reason to be like hitting alarm bells, like the diet's not working, the training's not working. It's like, no, that can be cycle related.
Yeah, awareness is everything. So
Yeah.
I really do believe that like understanding like the hormones, where you're at in your cycle, tracking your cycle, like if you're not tracking your cycle, you're missing so much amazing information that is really crucial in maximizing your performance. And that maximizing your performance can literally just be like understanding why today your brain is like fucked. Because you might start to go in your head in a whole thing of like, I don't understand, I'm not feeling good, this and that. And then you look at your hormones and you're like, oh my God, I'm ovulating, I have all of this stuff going on that has nothing to do with how my body can perform or not. But it's just, okay, my brain is just playing a little trick on me today. Let's take a note of this. I might be a little bit more emotional. Let's take a note of this, and I'm good. So now when you're training and you get emotional on that day, you're like, oh, here it is. Like you can like name it, but you don't have to give it power, which I think is like the biggest thing. And that goes for everything, to be honest, where you can just things and just be, oh, here it is. And then you just decide to not give it power and you can keep moving on.
Or for you, Josh, it might not be that you're such an asshole and terrible husband who doesn't care about your wife, but maybe the hormones are making her feel a certain way that are particularly susceptible to emotional breaks of some sort. It's good for you to know.
Yeah, I'll write that down. Yep.
You don't want to take a small thing and turn it into a big thing. You know, like girls should be aware of their cycle.
Yeah.
Guys should also be aware that like, yeah, like maybe this is not, maybe you need to let this one slide.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Forgive my ignorance, but Cam, did you say you can kind of like manipulate your period, like your cycle? The reason I was asking, because like for one of my follow-ups is like,
I mean, that part is a little tricky because
it involves inversion. We got to hang her upside down.
Well, because I was thinking like if you're on your like just using CrossFit example, if you're on your
it would be like using like some contraceptive, like oral contraceptive to kind of like push it. From what I've read, like the best one or to do the one with progesterone, and the other one can like really fuck you up. So if you like want to manipulate a little bit, like talk to your doctor about one that has progesterone, because for example, at the opposite, if you're competing in a sport that you need to constantly perform, like I'm thinking about you know, like a basketball team or like a cross team or something, like hockey, some things that you're like always playing a game. I don't know why you're laughing.
Beer pong team.
Beer pong team.
Beer pong team.
Maybe like having like a a contraceptive, like oral contraceptive, can help like regularize your hormones a little bit more. But it has to be the right kind, and you have to make sure that it doesn't mess you up, because that way you're not going to have so much of that high and low that like normally we get through our normal cycle.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who like has like that like 2 or 3 big competition a year, like maybe not, because then you can really like maximize like those big high and low to like give you like more result in your training. So just like, yeah, like depending on like where you're at, what you want, there is option out there. And I really wish I did this when I was training, because I swear every huge injury I had was like right in line with certain time of,
yeah,
and it was shoulder dislocation, because I'm hyper flexible, and
hurting your back sometimes.
And hurting my back. I could feel things slip, and it was literally always around that ovulation time. Like looking back, it's like insane how I just wish I had that, because for me, I was like an hyper flexible child. Like my shoulder would dislocate when I was a kid if you pull on my arm. And I feel like if I knew all of that information, I would have known that maybe for me around like ovulation time, a little less weightlifting, a little less gymnastic, more like, endurance type of training, more like hypertrophy, slow control. Let's build those muscles. Let's keep kind of building that foundation. And then when I would get towards my period with the estrogen and progesterone like dropping back down and the testosterone coming up, now I could have gone a lot more on the gymnastic and weightlifting side, because I'm so hyper flexible that tightness would have like helped like protect myself. So
For those of you guys, for those of you guys who are listening, like this stuff is a bit beyond what you might expect to get from like your general practitioner or typical, OBGYN gynecologist. So Cami and I, we work with, this is really along the lines of like human optimization, longevity, regenerative medicine types of doctors that typically work outside the scope of sometimes insurance, but like, Cami works with a great doctor.
And also us being completely obsessed with
just from experience, right? Yeah.
Like whether it be for like performance or physical transformation, or maybe there's health issues. Even for us, we've done stuff with like fertility. There are lots of doctors out there that are, understand and explore this stuff that can help. Like, Cami's talking about progesterone, like, you would want to go to maybe more of a specialized doctor for something like that. So the doctors we use, and do you have a link for them in your bio and your Instagram maybe? But I'll tell you the name. It's a company called Live Health, and they do telemedicine.
I'll put the link in my.
They're a network of U.S. local human optimization longevity doctors. It all is telemedicine, so you just like do it with Skype calls and Zoom calls. And these guys counsel you on like, what are you trying to do? Because a lot of this stuff is like, it's subclinical. It's not like there's nothing sick about you. You're not in danger, but you don't want to be regular. Like you don't want to just survive. You want to thrive. Or in this case, you want to optimize. So you'd want to get like some kind of specialized doctor like that who can help you navigate those types of things. And are you okay with saying the doctor's name on here?
Elizabeth Yard?
Yeah. So Cami works with a great doctor. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth Yard.
She's like the most amazing person in the world.
Yeah, she's
like,
fantastic.
She helped me so much with fertility, pretty much going from getting those blood work, being told that I might never be able to get pregnant, to having a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
So, she's my hero.
And like there's always different stuff.
And it's funny because with her, like going to like other doctor at first, it was right away like IVS, like pump myself with hormones, pump myself with like all the things that were considered the devil when I was competing. So that was like, that mental shift was like so hard for me, because it was like for 10 years everyone told me that it was the devil to like take anything. I would be a cheater and all of that stuff. And now like I see this one doctor and he's like, no, you have to take it all. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, there's obviously a line between doing something that's like dishonest or illegal in your sport and just being a person who just wants to live their best life and
I
wants
know,
to live
but
the longest and highest quality of
to
life.
be told that you have to go on the other side to get pregnant was really hard for me. And then I worked with Elizabeth, and she was like, oh, forget about all that stuff. Like, you don't have progesterone right now, fertility hormone for girls. If you don't have progesterone, you can't get pregnant. So let's just put you on that. And we like tweak like 1 or 2 things with like my nutrients, like vitamin A, D, and whatever, progesterone. And then we were pregnant, which was awesome because she went so much deeper into like how everything gets processed in the body than just like, I don't know what to say. I feel like when you go to someone who's not specialized in something, they just look at what is out of range, but that thing that is out of range might be out of range because of something completely different in your body. So if you only look at the cause, like the variable that are like directly linked with the cause, and you don't have a big picture, it's hard to really know what's going on because our body are so complex. And that's what Elizabeth is so good at.
And, you know, people who are invested in their health and wellness, like, you need to be a fantastic student of yourself. You know, it's like you guys know like how to snatch, you know, the mechanics of the snatch and what each phase is supposed to be that. And, you know, you don't just do it, but you like really learn about it. Well, it's the same thing with your body and your internal chemistry and your health. You need to become a very versed student, and having a doctor that can help counsel you and help you understand your blood work and what you're trying to achieve, and, you know, all the little things, whether it be like you're chasing performance, or maybe sometimes we're like trying to do a bodybuilding show, or we're trying to get pregnant, or I'm dealing with really bad IBS, or there's some kind of autoimmune situation. Like, if you are heavily invested in your health and wellness and longevity, it's such an advantage to work with a good doctor who can, it's just the best investment we've really ever made.
That's awesome. Good shit. I feel like I can talk to you guys for 2 hours. You guys are easy to talk to and super informative. And it just, you know what? You guys just make me feel happy.
There we go. Come on.
Yeah, this is good shit.
That's what we want to do for a living.
Yeah.
Give people great information and uplift, and hopefully, I feel like I do feel like my mission in life is to put myself through the fire as much as I can, and like get the research, apply the research, see what's working, see what's not working, do all the crap, learn all of it, and then like share it and help people like kind of get better as they evolve in their life. And I feel like a lot of people are like kind of now in a place where we are at, or we were at before, where we're like, whatever we're doing is not working anymore for us. It's not working for our hormones, for our health, for mental health. It's not making us happy anymore. What's the next step?
We're lucky because like we have such a large sample size to try things on. You know, like we have thousands and thousands of athletes online that we can try our nutrition and you know, training protocols and supplement protocols and all that stuff with, to do with large groups, to understand like what's working most well for most athletes. We will start kind of getting into this, and a great example of that is like some of our transformation challenges and coming up with nutrition systems that we can replicate with hundreds of athletes that are like highly effective. You know, you don't know what works with one person might not work with others.
Well, not just highly effective. We also apply a lot of like mistake that we've seen happen in the past with most people, where the restriction is so grand and there is no way to come back from the restriction. So for us, we employed like methodology, like caloric cycling and things like that, where like the cycle of that caloric deficiency. Yes. Yes. Gosh, I'm getting tired. The calorie deficit like goes for a bit, but then we have to boost your metabolism back up, and then now we can keep you at your body weight, bring you back up, and then go back in another cycle, so we can keep giving you the best of all the world and make sure your health stay up. Where like most thing you see out there when it comes to body transformation is very extreme and restrictive, without understanding how the body adapt to the stimulus and how to avoid plateau and how to like bring you back up so we can keep going. And I think that's what we get very intense and crazy about. watching how this evolution work on people, on different type of people, girls versus guy at different age. It's like amazing to have such a broad sample of people that we can do this with, because we see different tendency depending on age, percentage body fat, male, women, like
activity
level,
genetics. Yeah, like you want to become just a student of understanding like the three main pillars that are going to affect your health, performance, longevity, like your training, your nutrition, your internal chemistry. It's not just enough for someone to say, hey, do this. But when you start to understand it, you understand the principles, you understand the context, how it applies to you, what you respond to best. That's where you can really do big things. So, it's not just about like telling people, hey, go do this, but it's really about what we love doing is education, and really teaching people to, yes, work with coaches, work with doctors, but also be your own best coach, because you live in your body, and ultimately this is all about you.
That's great advice. Yep. Good stuff. Sincerely, thank you both very much for taking the time out of your busy morning. And by the way, I wasn't scared. I loved your guys' podcast, Love and Thunder. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna listen to a couple. Just
I don't know if we'll do it now. This is a lot of talking today, but like we always we always do some kind of like training education, nutrition education stuff, but also some fun stuff and some things people might not be as familiar with, like,
we're happy to talk about taboo subjects.
Yeah, like things we do believe in, and hopefully, I think like we're fans of just pursuing, trying to be our best and not holding on to stigmas or stereotypes about things, but trying to find real information, whether it be diving deeper into, marijuana therapies, mushrooms, stem cells, hormone therapies, longevity doctors, sleep hygiene stuff, like whatever it is. We love exploring that, using ourselves as our own guinea pigs and trying to find the truth, not just the hype.
Good. And I think it is a great podcast. I mean, not this one, it's like curling train, but I think it's I think you guys are like 6 episodes in, but I think you guys have done an excellent job for giving great advice for like the foundation for starting on the right track. Because there's like, I feel like everybody has the stories like, hey, I didn't really figure this out until like 2 years into training. But like, yeah, I think if you guys
internet, like it's exhausting, it's deafening, and what everyone wants to just sell you on like the cool, sexy, quick fix thing or the minutia. And very few people are just like loving, really diving in and understanding the foundations.
There's just a lot of like trying to bring any methodology down that someone is uncomfortable with, instead of understanding it and see where and how this could be applied.
Yep.
That was
love it.
That's
awesome. Good stuff.
Good on the English. She's come a long way, Josh. Before I met her, the only thing Cami knew how to say was like and badass.
Like it badass.
Like it badass.
You do, Cami. Badass. How's that workout? Badass. You want to go to dinner? Badass.
Rock on. And with that, thank you guys very much. I'll catch you